Good afternoon. In the previous class, we have seen the introduction to probability along with a few examples. Now, in this class, we will see probabilities of complements. So, basically, complement, how to find the complement of a probability, and also if we have to find the union of two events, how we are supposed to find that. So, probability of complements and unions of events. Suppose E be an event in a sample space S, the probability of the event E bar is S minus E. The complementary event of E is given by P of E bar is equal to 1 minus P of E. Now for this definition, let's take an example. So suppose when the event is heads, the complement is tails. So basically complement can be given as all outcomes or everything in the sample space which is not the event. All outcomes that are not the event. Also, suppose if your P of E is getting a head, so when you're tossing a coin, you want to get a head. In the toss of a coin, you're getting a head, that is P of E 1 by 2. Then P of E bar will be, in the toss of a coin, you are getting a tail. It will be 1 minus 1 by 2 and again 1 by 2. Okay. So this is basically a complement. Apart from that, you can also take an example. Suppose when the event is Monday, Wednesday, then the complement of the event will be, the complement of the event is all the days apart from Monday and Wednesday. So it will be Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So P of E is the probability of event E, or P of A if you want to take. P of A is the probability of event A. Then P of A bar is, or A dash or A bar, any one of them, is the probability of the complement of event A, Okay. And whenever you add both the complement and the event, both of them will be equivalent to 1. So it can also be written as P of A plus P of A bar is equal to 1. Okay. Now let's take an example. What is the complement of rolling a 5 or 6 on a die? What is the complement of rolling a 5 or 6 on a die? Okay. Now for this, if we want to find the complement of rolling a 5 or 6 on a die, so the event A is, let's write the solution. Event A is getting 5 or 6. What will be the complement? Event A bar will be, event A bar is getting 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. Now, if you are getting either 5 or 6, it will be, how many scenarios will we have? So the total number of outcomes when you are rolling a die is 6. So P of A will be by 6. Now, either you can get a 5 or you can get a 6. So that is 2. Okay, 2 by 6. What will be P of A bar? If we want to simply count how many outcomes we have, it will be 4 by 6. Or even you can find P of A bar by 1 minus P of A, 1 minus 2 by 6, which will again be 4 by 6. Okay. So this is the complement of an probability. Apart from that, we also have the union of events. So we have already seen union of sets. Now for union of events, let E1 and E2 be two events in the sample space. Then P of E1 union E2 is P of E1 plus P of E2 minus P of E1 intersection E2. To understand this, we can even write it in this form: P of A union B is equivalent to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. Okay, and now for this, let's take an example. So James selects a card from a deck of cards. What is the probability? What is the probability that his card is a club? His card is a club or a card whose face value is between 3 and 7, 3 and 7 inclusive. Okay, so now the events A and B, we have to take events A and B. What is the event A? Event A is probability that his card is a club. What is the event B? A card whose face value is between 3 and 7. These are the two events. Now we want to find P of A union B, or we are talking about or. So it can be either a club or it should be between 3 and 7, including 3 and 7. So we need P of A union B. So for that we need P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. Now, what is the value for, what is the probability of a card being club? So for this, how many total cards will we have in a standard deck of cards is 52. And how many club cards are there? There are 13 club cards. So 13 by 52 is P of A. What about P of B? P of B is basically how many cards do we have which are for 3 and 7. So there are 4 different types of cards, and in for each of them we will have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We will have a 3 of clubs, a 3 of spades, a 3 of hearts, and a 3 of diamonds. So for each of them we will have 5 cards. So total cards include which have face value 3 and 7, including 3 to 7 is 20 by 52. And what are the number of cards which is both a club and has a face value of 3 and 7? Obviously there will be the 5 cards. So the solution will be 13 by 52 plus 20 by 52 minus 5 by 52. Why am I taking 5 by 52? That is A intersection B. A intersection B can be simply said as a card which is both a club and has a value between 3 and 7, including 3 and 7 and between them. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it should be a club also. How many such cards we will have? We will have 5 cards. So the solution is, if you solve it, you will get 7 by 13. All right. So similarly, if we have 3 events, you can expand the formula how you do it in sets. I'll just write it over here. So this is the formula. If you have 3 events, and you can expand it for 4 events and etc. Now after that, we have another problem. What is the probability that a positive integer selected at random from the set of positive integers not exceeding 100 is divisible by either 2 or 5? So now for this problem, what is the probability that a positive integer from a set of positive integers not exceeding 100 is divisible by either 2 or 5? So let's solve it. So for this problem, let's consider the events. Let A be the event. A be the event that a number is divisible by 2. Number divisible by 2. B is the event and number is divisible by 5. Now, what we need to find which is either divisible by either 2 or 5. So, we need P of A union B, and it will be equivalent to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. How many numbers in total are there? 100. How many will be divisible by 2? So 100 by 2, if we find, we get total 50 numbers. Let me just write it over here. So out of the 100 numbers, how many numbers are divisible by 2? Out of the first 100 numbers, there are 50 numbers. So 50 by 100. While what about the numbers divisible by, this is P of A. Numbers divisible by 5, how many numbers will be divisible by 5 from 1 to 100? There will be total 20 numbers. So 20 by 100. And what about P of A intersection B? P of A intersection B is numbers which are divisible by both 2 and 5. So for this, the numbers which are both divisible by 2 and 5, that means they should be divisible by basically 10. So how many numbers are divisible by 10 from 1 to 100? There are obviously only 10 numbers, 10 by 100. So what is the solution for the problem? The solution will be given as P of A union B, that is the numbers divisible by either 2 or 5 is equal to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. So 50 by 100 plus 20 by 100 minus 10 by 100. So this is equivalent to 60 by 100, or we can even write it as 3 by 5. Okay, so this is the solution for the problem. Another problem was a sequence for the complement. A sequence of 10 bits is randomly generated. What is the probability that at least one of these bits is 0? Okay, so for this problem, let's take it. Let E be the event that at least one of the 10 bits is 0, and E is the event, E bar is the event that all the bits are 1. So what is the sample space? Because the sample space S is the set of all bit strings of length 10. So what will be P of E bar? P of E bar is the event that all the bits are 1, and P of E is at least one of the bits is 0. Now in this case, if all the bits are 1s, that it means that each of your length 10 string, so the string of length 10, we are considering all of them to be zeros. How many ways can we fill that all the bits are 1s? We can fill it only in one way. So P of E bar. So P of E bar is given as 1 by, how many total ways are there to fill the string? So the total number of ways will be 2 ways for each time. We will have, we already studied this in permutations. So the total number of ways will be 2 power 10, which is the product rule. So P of E bar is given as 1 by 2 power 10. What will be P of E? P of E will be given as 1 minus P of E bar. So which is 1 by 1 minus 1 by 2 power 10. You can either solve it or keep it as it is. This is the solution for the problem. Now the next topic is expected value and variance. The expected value of a random variable is the sum over all elements in a sample space of the product of the probability of the element and the value of the random variable at this element. So what do you mean by expected value and what do you mean by a random variable? So in the earlier class, we have already seen a random variable when the outcome of a sample space is non-numeric. Okay, when the outcome of the sample space is non-numeric, they can be quantified. They can be quantified by assigning a real number, by assigning a real number to every event of the sample space. So you assign a real number to every event of a sample space. This assignment rule is known as a random variable x, which is the real valued function. So this assignment rule is known as the random variable. We denote it by x, which is a real valued function. A random variable can be characterized by means of two measures. So this x can be characterized by two measures, and those two measures are basically your expected value and variance. So expected value is a measure of central tendency. Expected value is a measure of central tendency, while variance is a measure of dispersion. It is a measure of dispersion. Now, what does these terms mean? I'll explain them in a bit. For now, we have x, which is a random variable, which is assigned to a outcome of a sample space when they are non-numeric, and they can be characterized by two measures, which is expected value and the other is variance. Now, let's see the definition of expected value and variance. The expected value of a random variable is the sum over all elements in a sample space of the product of the probability of the element and the value of the random variable at this element. Okay, so the expected value is a weighted average. Basically, the expected value is a weighted average of the values of a random variable. Suppose if I am taking another useful measure of the random variable is variance, which tells us how spread out the values of the random variable are. That is the dispersion of the random variable. Now, we can use the variance of a random variable to help us estimate the probability that a random variable takes values far removed from its expected values. Now, let's see this in a bit detail. So, what do you mean by expected value? Suppose x is a random variable and defined for the outcomes in a sample space S. So, S is the sample space. The mean. So, expected value is also known by the term mean. The mean or expected value, I am writing it as EV of x is given as, so the formula for expected value is given as E of x is equal to sigma of x, x into P of x is equal to random variable x is equal to x, where the sum is taken. So, the sigma denotes the sum taken over all the values, taken over all the values of x, all the values of x determined by the random variable capital X, determined by the random variable capital X. Okay, now for this, let's see the expected value, also called as the expectation or mean of the random variable x on the sample space, is equal to, I've given you the formula, the deviation of x at s belongs to s is x of s minus e of x, the difference between the value of x and the mean of x. Now, what is the probability? So before that, we'll also have to see this definition. If x is a random variable and p of x is equal to r is the probability that x is equal to r, so that your expected value is defined as follows. The expected number of successes when n is mutually independent. Now, what does this term mutually independent mean? So mutually independent is basically So independent over here, it means that whenever we have two events, each event is not affected by the other event. Each event is not affected by the other event. And there is another term which is mutually exclusive. Events can't happen at the same time. Events can't happen at the same time. Okay. So now for this, the expected number of successes when n mutually independent trials are performed. What are those trials? Bernoulli trials. Now, what do you mean by a Bernoulli trial? So, in this case, for Bernoulli trial, so a Bernoulli trial is an experiment. So, this Bernoulli trial is an experiment which has exactly two outcomes. So this Bernoulli trial is basically an experiment which has exactly two outcomes. What are those two outcomes? The two outcomes are as follows: the success and the failure. The success, if the probability is P, then the failure's probability will be Q is equal to 1 minus P. Now in this case, the Bernoulli random variable, whenever you're talking about the expected value, the probability distribution for that expected value is given as NP. Okay, where P is the probability of success on each trial, the expected number of successes, N into P. If you're performing N events, then N into where P is your probability of success. Okay, so for this, now we can see the, for this example, let x be the number that comes up when a pair die is rolled. What is the expected value of x? The expected value is denoted by E of x. Now, what are the numbers that come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And these are the numbers that I am giving to the die value. So, what is the probability of 1 being on the dice? 1 is 1 by 6. Again, for 2, it is also 1 by 6. For 3 is also 1 by 6. Similarly, for the rest of them. So, you have to just multiply each of them with the probability and give the result, whatever the result is. Okay. So, this is the problem for expected value. Now, what about variance? Yeah, another example is if fair coin is flipped 3 times, let S be the sample space of 8 possible outcomes and let X be a random variable that assigns to an outcome the number of heads in this outcome. Okay, so now what are we, the random variable assigns to an outcome the number of heads in this outcome. Okay, so for flipping a fair coin 3 times, a fair coin means it you will get, there is an equal chance of getting a head or a tail. So if you're flipping it 3 times, so it will be 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2, which will be 1 by 8. Okay, so 1 by 8 is the probability, overall probability. Now what is the chance of getting, what are the different scenarios or outcomes? You will get all tails, 2 tails and a head, 1 tail and 2 heads, and etc. So these are basically your scenarios or outcomes. You will get all tails, 2 tails, 1 head, 1 tail, 2 heads, head and 2 tails, etc. So there will be total 8 scenarios: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, what is the random variable that you are assigning? The random variable is being assigned in such a way that how many heads are there, you have to assign that value. So for this, you have 0 heads, so you are assigning the value 0. In this case, you have 1 head, so assigning the value 1. 2 heads, 2. In this case, you have 3 heads, you are assigning in this way. Now, 1 by 8 is multiplied with each of them. Over here, we are just taking it common and performing the calculation. You will get 12 by 8, which is 3 by 2. Now, Bernoulli trial, as I explained already, it is an experiment with only 2 outcomes. One is a success, the other is a failure. If P is the success, Q is failure, and then Q will be equivalent to 1 minus P. All right. So this is your Bernoulli trial. Now let's see the last in this probability, which is variance and standard deviation. So suppose S be the sample space for an experiment E So the experiment is E and S is the sample space and X is the random variable you're assigning to your outcomes on S. So a random variable being assigned to the outcomes in S. And E of X is your mean or expected value of X. Then the variance is denoted by this symbol sigma square X, or it is also denoted by variance of X, and it will be equivalent to E of X minus E of X square. 1 second. E of X minus E of X square, or it can also be written as sigma X, X minus E of X square into P of X is equal to X. Okay, where the sum is taken over all the values of X determined by the random variable capital X. Okay, so the standard deviation, also there is something known as standard deviation, which is basically sigma X, and it is equivalent to the root of variance of X. So standard deviation is basically the root of variance. So in this case, let's see the definition. The variance is denoted by sigma square X of a random variable X. It is the expected value of the square of the difference between the value of X, the random variable, and its expectation value. And the standard deviation is simply sigma of X, and it is the root of variance of X, or you can even write root 1 by 2 power 1 by 2. Okay. Now, what is the variance of a random variable X, where X is the number that comes up when a die is rolled? So in this case, E of X square will be 1 by 6 into 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square and so on, which you have got the value. Variance of X will be 91 by 6, and this E of X is the complete square. So in the last earlier problem, we got 7 by 2 as the result. Let me just get that slide. So here, let X be the number of die that comes up. So what I did was I did 1 into 1 by 6 plus 2 into 1 by 6. In this case, the result will be 7 by 2. So for this 7 by 2, we are taking this 7 by 2 over here and squaring it directly in the formula for variance. So the formula for variance will be written in this way: E of X squared. So we have to square the random variable in the first term, and we have to square the complete expected value in the, which is the second term, and subtract it. Okay, so this is here variance. Now the next topic will be recurrence relation, which will be for the next lecture.